Hello and welcome to the Cook Memorial Public Library Podcast. I'm your host, Nate Goss. Happy New Year, everyone. I know it's already been 2022 for a bit now, but this is the first podcast episode of the new year, and we have for you a very fitting episode to kick things off in 2022. Recently, two of our bookies, Andrea and Erica, did a Facebook Live event called Snow Better Time for a Fresh Start. Books that can help you get a fresh start on life, maybe a brand new book that will give you a fresh start on that reading list this year, or maybe a brand new author that you've never heard of before. So for this episode, we are presenting to you a slightly edited version of that Facebook Live event. We hope you enjoy it, and remember that you can catch the bookies streaming live every second Tuesday of the month. So make sure you head over to the library's Facebook page, facebook.com/CMPLD, and subscribe to that page if you have not done so already. And also, if this is your first time ever hearing about the bookies are a collection of Cook Library staff members who love to suggest books. You can head over to the bookies page on our website, that's BOOKIES, to read a little bit more about the bookies and even fill out a questionnaire that you can send off to a bookie and get some personalized reading suggestions. All right, so let's head over now to Bookies Live, Snow Better Time for a Fresh Start.
Welcome to Bookies Live from Cook Memorial Public Library District. I'm Andrea Larson.
And I'm Erica O'Rourke.
Hi, Erica. And we are going to be talking to you today about good books. So our theme for today is Snow Better Time for a Fresh Start. If you've been in our buildings, or if you've looked at our newsletter, you have seen that Snow Better Time is sort of our theme for the winter this year. And so we thought that today we would talk about some fresh start kind of books. And one of mine is first. And this is like one of those like stereotypical New Year's resolution kind of books. It is not a new book. It's been out actually since 2014, and he's even revised it since then, but it was a bestseller then. It's been on my to-be-read list for a long time. So I read it this year, 10% Happier, How I Tamed the Voice in My Head, Reduced Stress Without Losing My Edge, and Found Self-Help That Actually Works, a True Story. It's written by Dan Harris. Dan was a reporter at ABC News at the time that he wrote this book. In fact, he just left ABC News this past year. He'd been there 21 years. So this whole book is about how he went from being a total skeptic about meditation and a complete stress ball in his professional life to becoming a convert. And it's about how meditation helped to change his life. So the reasons I like this book, first of all, it demystified meditation, because there's some books out there about it, and I've read them, and they're pretty woo-woo, and they don't work for everybody, and they certainly weren't the most effective things for me. So this book's really practical. I mean, he gives really good, solid tips, and he helps you understand what exactly can meditation do for you. And he also answered some of the questions that are always floating around my head. Like, for example, like, if I'm letting go, does that mean that I'm going to be completely passive in all areas of my life because I'm just Zen and letting go? Well, no, it doesn't necessarily mean that. And he can explain why. The other thing that I liked about this book is it was his personal journey. So he's a reporter. So he obviously really knows how to tell a story because he's got those professional skills. So he weaved the information throughout the story, and that narrative really kept me engaged. He's also got this really sarcastic, funny, honest voice, and that kept me in the story too. I also listened to this as an audiobook, and he himself narrates it because he's got that skill honed from years on TV. So all in all, a terrific experience. I just flew through this book. In fact, I didn't just do the audiobook. I read it too in between because I liked it that much. I was just that drawn in by it. So if meditation is on your New Year's resolutions, or even if it isn't and you're just really curious about it, this book is a perfect place to start. All right. Erica, are you ready to do yours?
I am. I am so excited about this book. So this is a brand new release. It's only come out in the past couple of weeks. It's The Maid by Nita Prose. And it is a very unexpected take on sort of the amateur sleuth sort of mystery. And it features a neurodivergent narrator, someone whose brain functions a little differently than most other people. So she has this very unique perspective on the world. And it is that same perspective that both puts her in danger and makes her best suited to solve the crime in the book. The maid of the title is Molly Gray. She's a housekeeper at a very posh, big city boutique hotel. And she discovers a dead body in one of the rooms that she regularly cleans. And because sort of her reactions don't always track with what we might think of as typical, she quickly falls under suspicion as the guilty party. And she has to work to clear her name. It has all the hallmarks of a great mystery. It's got twists and secrets and red herrings and plenty of suspects. The setting is fantastic. It's this very glamorous hotel. Paparazzi are an issue. You don't just see the glitzy part of the hotel, you also see the working underside of it, almost like in Downton Abbey. You see the Crawleys and what their life is like. And then you also see the working class there. And so you get that sort of upstairs, downstairs feel as well. But what I really, really loved about this story is Molly herself. She is lonely and adrift at the start of the novel. Her grandmother, who is really the only real connection she had, has passed away, and she's still grieving. And because she sees the world through such a different lens, she doesn't pick up on social cues. She can't recognize lies. She can't tell lies. She craves sort of order and routine. It's hard for her to connect with her coworkers. And it also, as I said before, really kind of puts her in the spotlight for the police. They really want to go after her. But all of those quirks also are essential to her uncovering the truth of what happened at the hotel. I don't know if it's the first in a series, but I really hope so. I think she's a fantastic character. I would love to see more of her adventures. I think if you're a mystery lover who likes a good puzzle, but wants a great character and some humor to sort of go along hand in hand, this is a fantastic choice. I should also say it has, right after it sold, it was optioned for film, and Florence Pugh, who was in Black Widow and Midsummer and Little Women, is going to play the part of Molly Gray. So.
Oh, neat. Oh, yeah, I like her. Cool.
Yeah, so there's your brand new release for the brand new year.
Yeah. Oh, right. My next book, Box 88 by Charles Cumming. So this is a spy novel. I love spy books, but I'm always excited to discover a new author. So Fresh Start for me is a brand new author whom I've never read before. This is also the first in a series. And so Charles Cumming, even though he's new to me, he's been writing espionage books for a couple of decades. And he's really well known in Great Britain. But he's not a household name here in the States, and I firmly believe he should be. This one is just great. Okay, so his main character is a guy named Lachlan Kite, or Lockie, as he is called. He's from Scotland. And Lockie is part of a top secret spy organization. It's run by the British and the Americans, but it's so secret that even the CIA and MI5 do not know it exists. Also, why is it called Box 88? I am not going to tell you. You have to read the book. So Lockie's old school friend dies. He goes to the funeral. He kind of lets his guard down because he's very sad, and he gets kidnapped and subsequently interrogated. Now, strangely, his interrogator, who happens to be Iranian, asks him about his very first mission for Box 88 when he was 18 years old in the south of France. So at the same time that this interrogation is happening, he is also being tracked by MI5 because there's a unit of MI5 that's sort of picked up on Box 88 and they're trying to figure out if it's real or not. So they've also kind of clocked his disappearance. So they're sort of trying to figure out what's going on. So you've got this interrogation. You've got these people trying to track him down. And then you've also got Lockie in the interrogation talking about the south of France and his very first job. So it's a great balance of the action and suspense that's happening in the present day, but also these flashbacks to the late 80s. He's a brand new spy. He doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's kind of figuring the way out. He's in a new romance at the same time. He's asking all these ethical questions about what he's doing and is it the right thing? So it's a great, just really well put together. You've kind of got the whole package in this book. Plus, Lockie is just a really likable character. He's smart, he's tough, and he's also principled. So I am just so excited for the future books in this series. You know, if you like Le Carré, if you like Daniel Silva, this is a perfect book. All right. Next up is Erica's book.
All right. So like you, I decided that one of my fresh starts was actually going to be a little bit of an older title. While I don't make resolutions, I did talk in our Bookies U program about sort of my intentions for reading in the new year. And one of them is to branch out. I actually tend not to read a lot of historical fiction, and then I wanted to remedy that this year. I started with this book, Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Belinda Lowe. It is a literary historical fiction targeted for YA readers. But after reading it, I feel like it would appeal to adults just as much as it would teens. It's set in 1950s San Francisco at the height of the Red Scare. And it's the story of 17-year-old Lily Hu. She's a Chinese-American girl who yearns to be a rocket scientist. That alone is unusual in her community at the time. You know, everybody else is very concerned with the Miss Chinatown pageant and the dances that are coming up and who's going to serve on the dance committee and are you going to go with this boy or that boy? But what's really making her feel like she doesn't quite fit in this world that she's grown up in is she's coming to the gradual realization that she's gay. This is sort of dawning on her through a series of events and interactions, and she eventually starts to fall in love with a white classmate, Kathleen, and they embark on a very secretive by necessity relationship. It's a very bittersweet story. It's a lot about family and sort of the expectations and pressures that they can put on you. It's about first love. It's about forging your own path. And it's all set in this time period and community that I knew very little about, shamefully. So it was a fascinating glimpse into not just a time period, but a cultural community and the LGBT community in the 1950s, which certainly existed, but I didn't really have any familiarity with. The story is beautifully told. Just the prose is just stunning and polished and vivid. It's very sharply observed. The interactions between Lily and the other characters are just pitch perfect. Belinda Lowe just understands the dynamics of friendship and the little things that we say to each other and how those relationships work. She captures that breathless and sort of scary feeling of first love, and it's meticulously researched. I can't say enough about it. I was blown away. It won the National Book Award for Young People's Literature recently, and well-deserved, absolutely well-deserved. 5 stars, can't recommend it highly enough. Definitely worth checking out.
I'm very glad that you say that because that is one of the books that our book club is reading this year. The Teen Lit for Grown-Ups book club at the library is going to be discussing that one. I can't remember which month, but regardless, we read lots of good books. So
you guys do.
Yeah. So for anyone who's interested in young adult literature, we're all adults talking about it. So join us. We meet every other month. Check our website for that. So yeah, I am really excited about this book, Erica, and especially so now. Well, those are our books for everyone today, but we also wanted to highlight for our viewers some cool author events that we have coming up.
So in February, I believe it's the 8th, but you would probably want to check on our website. We are going to have author S.A. Barnes in to talk about Dead Silence. It's basically a horror story set in space. It was pitched as sort of Titanic meets The Exorcist in space, but it's been getting great reviews. People are, even our resident horror experts have been excited to read the book. And she is actually fairly local. And so we're hoping it will be a hybrid event. We'll have to see. We'll keep you posted about the actual format. But I think this is a very fresh take for Authors Out Loud. We don't often have horror authors come in and talk to us. So I hope you guys can join us.
Well, and with that, we will say farewell until next month. Thank you for watching. Please come see us in the library at the reference desk or check us out online at our website, cooklib.org/bookies. Happy reading, everyone.
All right, thanks for listening. Before we go, just a few things. If you'd like to search for any of the books that were mentioned today, check them out or get yourself on a wait list, head over to our website, cooklib.org, to search the catalog and place your holds. While you're over on our website, make sure you check out the library's blog, Shelf Life, where library staff regularly write about book reviews, genealogy tips, local history stories, and so much more. That blog can be found directly at shelflife.cooklib.org. And if you ever have any questions, comments, or feedback for the podcast, reach out to us anytime. You can send us an email at webmaster@cooklib.org or talk to us on Twitter @cooklibrary. And lastly, if you enjoy this episode, please tell others in your life all about it and let them know that they can catch this episode along with any past or future Cook Memorial Public Library podcast episodes in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever they like to get their podcasts. And one of the best ways that you can support this podcast is just by leaving a nice rating over on Apple Podcasts. We will be back soon, but until then, keep reading, keep watching, and keep listening.